Back in the day when I was growing up, there were two things that everyone watched once a year. They would broadcast them once a year. The Ten Commandments during Easter, and I think it was Thanksgiving. You always could sit down and watch The Wizard of Oz. And I watched it every year. I wouldn't say that I was a Wizard of Oz fan. I think I read the book. I don't recall. I believe I did. But I wasn't a huge fan. But I would watch it every time it would come on TV. Now, fast forward to 2003. I had been living in the New York area for 6 years at that point. And I had heard tell of a musical on Broadway called Wicked that had something to do with the Wizard of Oz, and I knew it had something to do with the two witches, and I think I knew that it was a prequel. But it wasn't something I was interested in going to see. If someone gave me a free ticket, yeah, I'd go see it. I'm not that huge into musicals, but hey, it's a Broadway show. I'd go see it. Now, fast forward to 2024, and we have this film adaptation of the apparently much beloved musical Wicked. It stars Ariana Grande as Glinda, Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, and I'm not sure why Ariana got top billing over Cynthia. I guess they thought Ariana was a bigger star. I don't know about that. I mean, I think everyone knows Cynthia Erivo at this point. She starred in the Harriet Tubman movie. Stars Michelle Yeoh as Morrible, Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero, the love interest, and Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard of Oz. That's a pretty impressive cast. And I imagine if you saw the Broadway play, which my understanding it was hugely successful, you might go to this movie and love it. You'll probably enjoy it. There are people, I'm hearing they're having to tell people not to sing in the theater because it's so beloved. Me, on the other hand, I just feel like I'm not the audience for this project. I kind of felt the same way going to see this as I felt about going to see Barbie. I'm like, why am I going to see Barbie? But I did end up giving that 3 reels, so I figured, okay, let's take a shot. Well, I remember I was sitting in the theater with my popcorn waiting for this thing to start, and a couple of people sat next to me, 2 women sat next to me. They were clearly huge fans, and they said something like, yeah, it's funny. The play is only 2 hours long, but this thing is 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I was like, what? Yes, this film is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Now, like I've said, I did not see the musical, so I can't judge the content, but I can't imagine that the musical, which was 2 hours, warranted a 2 hour and 40-minute film adaptation, and this is only part 1. And what's funny is at the end of this film, I feel like I've gotten the whole story. This is basically a prequel, which tells how Elphaba, which is the first time since The Wizard of Oz that I'm aware of that she's given a first name. And the musical is based on a story that was written not by L. Frank Baum, but I can't remember the writer's name. But it was based on that book, the musical was, and then the musical obviously was adapted into this film. So I don't know if Elphaba was the name of the character, the Wicked Witch, all along, but that's her name in this film. It's an intriguing name. I give him that. But my point is that I don't see why this warrants a part 2, and I don't see why this warrants being 2 hours and 40 minutes. I felt like a lot of the subplots in this film were just added. It just felt like they were added to the film to pad it out. And I don't know. I just can't imagine. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed like some of the subplots, there's no way they were in the musical because they seem so inconsequential. And if I'm wrong, please let me know. But Jonathan Bailey, who plays Fiyero, I didn't see what his character really added to this movie other than to create some type of romantic tension between himself and Glinda and Elphaba. That love triangle doesn't really go anywhere. At least it doesn't evolve at the end of this film. Maybe it picks up in part 2, but it did not play or go anywhere in this movie, in this part 1. There's also a romance between one of the Munchkins and a female character that's in a wheelchair, which is kind of cute, but that didn't really go anywhere either. So I don't know if I got to go see part two to get some type of resolution on these subplots, but I thought it was overly long. I thought it dragged in so many parts. I know the songs are very popular, no pun intended, with the given audience. They didn't move me that much, except for the song "Popular." I also like the song "Defying Gravity." I'm sorry to say, I'd never heard it until I looked it up prior to going to see the film. I heard the song "Popular," but maybe only the chorus. And I do like that song. Yeah, the film really takes off for me. The only time I was really interested or engaged was the third act, deep into the third act, where things start to develop, characters develop, Elphaba develops into the character that we know her to be from The Wizard of Oz, where we see that slide to the dark side. And this is also a film where they do something that I'm not a big fan of. They take characters that are evil or that are written evil when we first meet them, like the Wicked Witch of the West is an evil character, but they try to soften them up. They want to give them a motivation or justification for why they are evil because they've been wronged or something like that. I'm thinking about, I think Craven that's coming up, the Spider-Man enemy. He's going to be made to be an anti-hero. Venom from the films, the trilogy that character was in. It's just so Mystique from the X-Men, who's a villain in the books. Well, again, we have that here, but okay. This film is based on a musical, which is based on a book, but I'm just telling you how I feel about it. Again, we see a character that was great as an evil character, a classic, iconic villain, and they spin it on its head to make her a justifiably sympathetic character. I get it. I get it. That's the story. And I'm not going to lie, I was intrigued by it. I was hoping to see something on screen that would not be so obvious or so predictable as to why she is an evil character, or we're being led to believe she's going to be an evil character, if nothing else, based on what we know from her character in The Wizard of Oz. But, she's green. No one likes her. She struggles to get into society. Kind of predictable stuff. But I was hoping for a little bit more. One of the things I really struggled with, and I know I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, I'm going to say it anyway, but having grown up watching the original movie, The Wizard of Oz, with Judy Garland and Burt Lahr and all those guys, and Margaret Hamilton, I mean, she is iconic in that role. Seeing Cynthia Erivo in the makeup, it just really took me out of that character because I'm so used to seeing Margaret Hamilton's features in that role. And Cynthia Erivo, listen, let me just say, she does a fantastic job. I didn't know she could sing like that. I didn't know she could perform like that. Her acting is beyond amazing. It really was a struggle for me to see her features under the green makeup and just buy into the fact that she is the Wicked Witch, or soon to become the Wicked Witch of the East. I really struggled with that. On a smaller nitpicky scale, I also had a little issue with her and the hubbub she kind of brought up when I guess some fans or a fan redid the marquee poster, which originally had her looking dead into the screen, and it looked like she was kind of befuddled or something like that. Some fans did a fan version of that poster where they covered most of her face out of homage to the marquee poster for the musical, where Elphaba's face is covered by her cap or her hat. And she tried to turn it into something else. And originally I was on board with her, but then I found out from many people that no, that's what the original poster looked like. And I think a lot of people agree that the fan poster was better because her expression, Cynthia's expression on the poster that they created for the movie originally, it just didn't look right. It looked unnatural. So I don't know. I get a little nuts when I see people raising issues that may not actually be issues. But Erivo was fantastic, and I put it all on my shoulders that I needed to get over looking at her and the green makeup and trying to erase Margaret Hamilton out of my psyche which was very difficult to do. But she really did command the performance. She did a great job. The main thing about this film that helps raise the rating that I'm going to give it was Ariana Grande. I knew she had a great voice. I walked in knowing that. I had no idea how great of a dancer, how great of a performer or an actor she is. She was the funniest thing about this movie. Her timing was impeccable. She was hilarious. She plays a spoiled, bratty character that you're really not gonna like too much, and she's supposed to be the good witch, but she was like that mean girl, but she becomes friends with Elphaba. Now that was a source of contention for me as well. The turnaround from Elphaba and Glinda going from being enemies to being friends seemed a little kind of contrived to me. It just happened like that, and it didn't really work for me. But Ariana Grande was amazing. I wasn't a big fan of hers ever since she licked those donuts either. Go look it up. But man, I was blown away by her performance. The last act of this movie is where things do kick into high gear. It's all predictable. I'll admit it was pretty interesting to see some things develop no matter how predictable it was. Like when I first heard, when they first show monkeys as the palace guard, you know something's going to happen where, you know, they grow wings and they're going to align with Elphaba. I mean, that's just, I didn't spoil anything there if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, and it's been around for decades, eons. So that was pretty cool. That last half, the last third of the film, it does move fast. It's just a little, for me, a little eye-rolling how some characters are revealed to have sinister plots. But overall, I just found the movie to be long. I found it to be turgid in many spots. And just the pacing for me, it just wasn't what I would want to see in a film. But I will give it this. It looks fantastic. There's no question about it. The sets are all fantastic. The production design is amazing. The makeup, fantastic. The wardrobe, amazing. The costuming, just unbelievable. The choreography, fantastic. But for me, I'm going to say again, not being a fan or being in the know about the musical, not being a huge fan of Wizard of Oz to begin with, I just don't think I was the person this was meant for. But if you are a fan of The Wizard of Oz, if you love the musical Wicked, this is gonna be a favorite film of the year. I'll be willing to guess. For me, and you can take this with a grain of salt, which I'm sure you will, I'm only gonna give this movie 2.5 reels. And I told you why. I'm giving it 2 reels because it does have some merit. It does have great design. It looks amazing. Go see it in IMAX if you get a chance. Erivo's performance is fantastic. Ariana Grande's performance is just stellar. I would go to see her in another film like that. The last third of the movie, exciting. It moves. It's fast. It's cut well. It's edited well. It's just, at that point, it couldn't get above 2.5 for me because it was too little too late. The reason I'm giving that half reel is because of Ariana Grande. I had to pull back from the 3 reels. I'm sorry, but 2.5 reels. Like I said, if you're a fan, go check it out. You will love it. All right, that's all I got time for. Next movie I'm going to be reviewing most likely will be Captain America Brave New World. I don't think there's anything else coming out that I'll be seeing until then, but who knows. All right, that's the Martini. I'll see you soon. Take care.